Hi, everybody. My name is Amber, and I'm the founder and CEO of ForRefugees. I'm delighted to welcome today Lorenzo and Ruhi. Lorenzo is project manager, and Ruhi is founder and CEO of Refugee Biriyani Bananas. Now, normally Lorenzo and Ruhi are based in Chios in Greece, but in November they went to the Polish border with Belarus for 2 weeks to raise awareness of what's happening there and to share with all of us the situation on the ground. So I'm going to ask Lorenzo and Ruhi, please, to share with us what it was that they saw and experienced whilst they were across in Poland and Belarus in the last month.
Thank you, Amber, and thank you ForRefugees for inviting us today to speak. So we will start with, do you want to maybe say how we arrived and what we did first?
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amber. So yes, it was quite hard, quite interesting, the situation that we found in Poland. Personally, me and Rui as well, we saw many crises, but this one, it was a bit different, quite different, because for the first time we have to approach to a problem that was not in the sea, but was in a forest, in a very old forest, in a very hard forest, very dangerous and cold. So the approach was quite shocked because we arrived in a war zone. We thought that we were going in Europe. Actually, we arrived in a war zone where tanks everywhere, police, soldiers, and was quite scary. And you immediately could feel like this feeling of, I don't know, pressure from the authorities, and it wasn't really nice. And this feeling, it became every day more clear. It was quite clear that there is a kind of political game around it. The authorities built this red zone. There is this red zone that cross all the border for 3 kilometers basically, and it's very dangerous because no one can go inside this zone. So they can do whatever they want. There are no journalists, there are not NGOs, and it's really, really hard. The main problem when we arrived, it was that basically the people were stuck in between the two countries. It wasn't anymore a problem of asking asylum or something like that. It was a problem to save the life of these people, because some of them were also kind of agreed to come back in Minsk in Belarus. But the problem is that also the Belarus closed the border, so they were stuck in this forest. The border of the Belarus was closed. The same things in Poland, and they were stuck in the middle. And in the middle is just a forest, a very wet forest, very, I don't know, with lakes and everything. So the people were in very bad condition, and day by day the cold was more intense and started to snow. It was extremely cold, and we received these kind of messages that were so, I don't know, painful, because many of these messages arrived from the red zone, and we couldn't go inside because even if we just brought a sleeping bag or a bottle of water in the red zone and the police catch us, they could arrest us. And this is not nice, of course, this is not correct, but this is the reality right now in Poland.
I think what we can probably do is maybe just go back and just explain to people how this whole started, because some people have been asking me, what is happening here? Because, we hear of people coming from Turkey to Greece, so we hear people wanting to go from Greece onwards. So this is essentially a hybrid war between countries. And what happened was sort of like the Lithuanian authorities gave visas to people. There are like human rights sanctions on Belarus, not Lithuania, Belarus gave visas to people mainly from Syria, Iraq, and Kurdistan. And they have sanctions on them, human rights sanctions against them, and it's a way to sort of put pressure on the EU. And so thousands of people were stuck at this border between Lithuania, Belarus, and Poland. And I think this is why, like, when we say it's a totally different border crisis to anything that we've seen before, I've been on different border crisis zones, and this is absolutely horrendous. And as Lorenzo was saying, is that you have these red zones. Nobody's allowed to help in Belarus. You have these red zones in Lithuania and Poland. We were at the Poland side and the Lithuania side, and we couldn't go into the red zone, but we were able to help some people coming out of the red zones with the other activists and volunteers. And one of the main issues is that like there's no media allowed to go in there, and there's no humanitarians allowed to go in there. So we actually don't know how many people are suffering. We don't know how many people are dying either every day. So when we were there, so the setup was that we were working with the other activists, and they have like an emergency line. And so when people are in distress and they call to help, like Lorenzo said, we couldn't help everybody because they were either in the red zone or they were still in the Belarus side. But anybody outside of the red zone, you could help to some extent. But again, it's very difficult because volunteers and activists are being criminalized, and there are also right-wing and fascist attacks happening as well. And when we talk about how did we help, it was mainly responding to these distress calls. So I mean, we can give you an example of when we went to Lithuania. I remember like Lorenzo was on the phone to the guy who called the helpline. So we were at the headquarters, and it's manned 24 hours a day right now. And this call came through, and I could hear Lorenzo speaking to him, and it just sounded so distressing. The voices of just, please help me, please help us. It's cold, we have no food. That will just stay with me forever. And then maybe you can talk about what we did when that distress call came through.
Yes, it was a really hard situation. Basically, we received this phone call from 4 boys from Syria, and we were in Lithuania at that moment, and we just prepared like a couple of big bags with all the needs that the guys needed, basically food, but also sleeping bags and warm clothes and everything, water especially. And that was like a kind of it was very easy to find them because they were outside the red zone. So
that's not always usual to find them, because they're in these forests. Are like nothing that I've ever seen.
It's scary.
Yeah, I don't do camping or anything, but I just remember like you guys had to like help me over because it was kind of difficult. So how people are surviving in the snow and the wet and the mud.
Yeah, and it was like an adventure just to reach them. It was like 15 minutes driving, but everything was covered by snow, and it was the first snow, so it was very icy and it was quite dangerous. But we arrived there, and they were kind of close to the street, maybe 100 meters in the forest, and so we found them easily. But when we arrived there, it was so bad because I saw these 4 men that were completely tired and wet, and it was insane cold, so cold, and they were desperate. They just hugged me and started to cry. It was like little boys, maybe 21, 22, 23. There was one guy of 16, a minor that was there, and these guys sold everything in Syria, the house and the car, because Lukashenko told them a lot of lies, and they thought that they could reach Germany in 2 days. The situation was really bad. And we knew after a couple of days, that they were being pushed back again, because the hardest things of this mission for us was when we were able to reach the people, then we had to leave them in the forest. And this is something that really killed us
that
inside.
Is something like all night. I said to Lorenzo, like, why can't we just get them an Airbnb or bring them to our place? It's just, I mean, they'd already been for 6 days pushed back between Belarus and Lithuania. Our bodies are not designed to withstand this torture and to be in that forest at night. And then they called us again on the helpline, and I was like manning that night, and they were really scared because they thought they could hear police coming. And I remember I was messaging Amber at the time as well because I was really worried for them. And yeah, we had to leave them. And then the next day they'd gone forward, but then again they were pushed back. So all that torture was for nothing,
And the things that made me think was like that they told me, look, we are also even ready to come back home or to come back in a warm place, but we cannot, because now the Lithuanian police will push us back to Belarus, and they will do it again. What we have to do? They are just killing us slowly, and it's the reality. People right now are still in the forest dying.
People are being used as weapons, and this should not be happening. Human beings, like all of us, we all have families and children, and it's not just the men that we met, but there are children out in the forest and families. I mean, a 4-year-old girl is missing that we posted about recently, and what happened was that her family was pushed into Poland, and then the Polish authorities pushed the family back to Belarus, but the child was left behind and is missing. It's been like 3 days now in -12. degrees Celsius, she'll either be dead. I can't imagine her surviving this, but nobody will. If they even find her, they will not say because it's already been out in the media. But this is a child of 4 years old. I keep thinking of my nephews and nieces of the same age.
It's upsetting because it's something that was decided by, I don't know, by politicians, by the governments, the governments, because it's something that could be avoided very easily. They say that it's an invasion. It's less than 1,000 people right now. We are thinking of numbers that are really little, and it could be so easy to save these people. And then you can do whatever you want. You can send them back to Syria, you can send them to Iraq, you can give the asylum in Germany, in Spain, or wherever. But save the life now.
Yeah,
Okay,
people will not survive.
Two different.
People will not survive.
Two different.
I mean, I was saying to Lorenzo the other day, I was like, because it's hard there because it's not like going to Idomeni camp or Vial camp and you see thousands of tents and thousands of people. Here we can't see thousands of people, but we know that they're there. I can hear them, I see them online. It's almost like I can hear them. I can't see them, but it doesn't mean they're not there. And even if we can't go and share lots of photos of us giving sleeping bags and things, that doesn't mean they're not there. We still need to vouch for them. We still need to campaign for them and advocate for them. And this is why this crisis is totally different from anything that I've seen. Horrendous, absolutely horrendous.
It's really hard. It was hard, but we anyway tried to do our best. It's even if they were in the red zone, we tried to support in different way. Just speaking with them, it's something to give them hope. And
messaging them gives them hope as well. And I think just the raising awareness and advocacy efforts as well, yes, we get donations. We have to spend the donations on things like power banks, which is really essential. Because people, and now what's happening is people's phones are also being broken by the authorities, which means they can't contact the helpline. So we don't know how many people are out there. And also, sorry, I started saying this before and I kind of stopped it, that when I spoke to Lorenzo the other day, and I was like, maybe we should go back and help. And then he was saying, the help that we're going to have to actually do is take bodies out of the forest, because that's what it's going to be like. So the donations that we raised funds for and ForRefugees gave it grants for as well went on sleeping bags. Sleeping bags are really expensive in Poland.
It's important to say that.
But it's like the minus. They're really expensive, but you need sleeping bags for extreme weathers. When we went back to the forest the next day and I saw how they were living, it was just freezing and wet. Power banks, food, thermal clothing is so important. It's not even talking about aid right now. It's helping people survive, actually. And I guess, yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, it was just very painful. Yeah? The situation there, it was not nice at all. And we still are in touch with the activists there. And apparently there are less people, but the condition of these people are worse, because 2 days ago were minus 15 maybe. And how can you survive? It's just impossible.
I mean, there's less people on the Poland and Lithuania side, but there's still thousands of people stuck in Belarus, which we can't access, and we don't know much of what's happening. There are camps. So when we were there, that's when they were at the borders. They were being pushed in and out. And, Poland water gunned people when it was -5. Absolutely horrendous. And now they've been put in camps, and some people have gone back. Some people are stuck in Minsk. We constantly get news and reports of people needing help all the time, and we can't do much, unfortunately. But I think one of the main things with humanitarian work and the work that we do is actually being there as a witness to try and understand. I mean, I learned so much about these countries and what's going on between them and what's happening to these people. And also when we were there, we had some Italian MEPs that came through, which Lorenzo was speaking to. And I think the advocacy efforts and raising awareness is so important as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so important because yes, we of course are doing our work, and we did our best, but we cannot change the things, and the things can be changed but just by the EU. And so the things that everybody should do is just to put pressure on our politicians, because they have to change it. And
we need a humanitarian corridor. I'm not saying that Poland needs to take everybody in, but right now people are going to die. These people need to be given access to seeking asylum. We need some sort of relocation program so there can be a humanitarian corridor. We need to save lives right now, and later, as Europe together, we should be able to find it. We need to find a solution. Lorenzo, what would you say to everybody about the situation and what they can do?
that to everybody is, yes, exactly what I was saying, that we need to contact our MPs and to tell them that the situation is really bad, and every day that finish, it's another day of suffering for the people. People are dying every day, and they will dying. And also in this week, the temperature will go down again to -10, and it's not anymore something that could continues forever. This is something that need to be stopped now, and we need to put pressure on the Polish authorities, because of course we cannot speak with Lukashenko, and so it's something that need to be fixed, and it's a bit sad, and I'm actually disappointed about the position of the European Commission, because they are funding with millions of euros this country to build walls, and anyway, this is something that we can discuss after this month, but right now the things that we need to do is to save the people. It's not about anymore the topic of an invasion or the asylum seekers or something like this. Now it's like if a boat is in the sea and we need to take this boat in a safe port. It's exactly the same.
Yeah,
and tell
absolutely.
me, what would you say to the people? Because all the people couldn't see us. They don't know we were there. We did come to help. If we were to say something to our brothers and sisters stuck at the borders, what would you say to them?
Yes, it's really hard. It was really hard because we knew and we know that people are in the forest and we cannot reach them. And of course, it's hard because our job, for example, here in Chios, it's very very nice. I love it because we are in touch with our brother and sister every day. And it was so bad for us to be in Poland and in Lithuania and to know that people are in the forest and they cannot even know that we were there to try to help them. And that was like something that it really made me think a lot. And yes, if I could say something to them, is that we are trying to do our best, and there are people that are fighting for their rights. There are people that are suffering the cold in the night to looking for them in the forest as we did, and they shouldn't feel alone even in this bad
Yeah.
situation. And Europe is not just a wall, but it's also solidarity. It's also people that care about this stuff. And yes, it's a shame, but we are still there supporting them.
And we hear them. We can't see them all, but we hear them. And I hope that like everybody who might be watching this or reading our post will feel the same as we do. That they are not voiceless. We are still here, and we will do whatever we can. Even if nobody listens, we will keep trying.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we want to say to everybody that's stuck in that forest that we know you're there. You're not invisible. The world knows you're there, and we care, and we are trying to do what we can to make sure that you survive this and that you come out of this to a future. Is there more people arriving all the time, or is this now a set of people stuck, and it's now known that they're stuck and nobody new is arriving?
Now we are in a new phase. Basically, there are not any more people coming from Minsk.
Okay.
There is a kind of refugee camp that is just building with many people inside in the Belarus side. And 2 days ago, the authorities from Belarus told to them that they have two alternatives. The first one is to come back in Minsk and be deported in their countries. The second one is to try again to go in Poland. So there was kind of.
And what you have to remember is they're from countries such as Iraq and Syria and Kurdistan. Going back isn't always an option where they're like already oppressed and their lives are at risk, and they've spent thousands and thousands of euros to get here. So they're constantly in this battle. Although we know of people who have actually gone back because they didn't have a choice. It was too torturous in this border crisis zone.
I think I heard someone say they'd rather die in their home country than die stuck in a border between Belarus and Poland.
Yes.
And that's their choice. Yeah.
That's the situation,
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen any questions coming in from anybody watching yet, but we're nearly out of time. So I would like to say, do you have any final words, Lorenzo or Ruhi, that you want to share with anybody?
Sorry? What? I would just say, please keep sharing our posts. Please write to your MPs. You might think it won't make a difference, but it will. It will. For those people, we have to. If we can't get sleeping bags out to everybody, it's the least we can do. It will take a few minutes of our time. Please.
And you're still in touch with all the groups that you supported and worked with and met across in both countries, in Lithuania and in Poland.
And we will continue to support them as well.
Yeah.
And if there's a need to go out, we will go out. And yeah, like Lorenzo was saying, the activists are amazing. What they're putting themselves through, it's absolutely, we're even more strengthened and inspired by them.
Yeah, probably the next step will be to protect them in some way because they are not in a safe country. It's not anymore a safe country.
Absolutely. And that's probably a topic for a whole other discussion another day. Today is International Human Rights Day as well. We should have mentioned that at the beginning. It's apparently the people in Poland light green lights in their windows to show people that they are somewhere safe for refugees to go and somewhere welcoming. And across the world today, they're asking for people to light green lights in their windows to show that they welcome refugees, and are doing a map to show where across the world people are welcoming refugees. So I will be trying to find some green paper and a light to put in my window tonight, and I implore everybody else to do the same.
Should be a green Europe, because it's not just a problem of Poland. There is the Aegean Sea, the Balkan route, it's Calais, it's Canary Island, it's Sicily. And
you're right. You're absolutely right. No, I completely agree. Marco Muller has come on and said we have a question, but I can't actually see what the question is. So given the time, I'm going to say thank you very much indeed, Lorenzo and Ruhi, not just for being here today, but for going to the border and being witness to what's happening there. Please keep sharing. We'll do everything that we can as well to share your posts and share the information. But thank you very much for everything that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
And I will speak to you both very soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.